back to our podcast. I'm the Disturbed Southern Belle.
And I'm the gentleman.
On this episode, we're going to be continuing, or finishing, I should say, our series of the cryptids by state. And we're going to be starting off with West Virginia and the infamous Mothman. So, this odd winged humanoid cryptid is probably one of the most well-known cryptids from the United States. I mean, to be honest.
Absolutely.
It's very popular. It's been in media. There's been movie, whatever. So it's been seen a lot, but we're going to talk about some of the most notable sightings that happened and sort of a premonition that was believed to have been made by him. So, for approximately a year, from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967, this odd beast was said to be spotted frequently in the area of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So, it later went on to become the inspiration for a popular book by John Keel entitled The Mothman Prophecies. And this book talked about a connection between the sightings of the creature and the collapse of the Silver Bridge. This book was also adapted into a 2002 film by the same name, and it starred Richard Gere. Now, I've seen it. It's actually a pretty cool movie. So, as to what exactly this creature looks like, it can vary a bit just depending on, who is seeing it. So, we'll talk a little bit about some of the history and some of the sightings. So, the first documented sighting of this avian cryptid happened on November 15th, 1966. There were two young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Millette, and they had hurried to the police station to report seeing this horrifying large black creature with red glowing eyes. So, they stated that they had spotted the creature standing near the side of the road. Linda Scarberry claimed that the beast was a slender, muscular man. She also reported the creature was roughly 7 feet tall with huge white wings. She states that the beast's eyes had some kind of hypnotic effect which prevented her from being able to discern any distinctive features of its face.
That could just be due to fear, though, to
well,
be
that's
fair.
true. Exactly. That could be very true.
She could have just been, paralyzed with fear,
sort
so to
of.
speak.
I mean, I guess it's sort of like that thing where you see something and your mind can't really comprehend what you're seeing kind of thing because it's so weird. I'm guessing that's sort of probably what happens. But anyway, that's what she says. So, quite understandably, the group attempted to flee from the creature and sped away in their car. However, they claimed that the beast then pursued the car, making a loud screeching sound. They said it continued to chase them for several miles and then finally flew away when they reached the Point Pleasant city limits. It said it could keep up with the car, so this thing can move.
That's impressive. That's got some speed.
So then again, I don't know what kind of car they were in. They could have been in a little putt-putt car. I mean, I have no clue. Flintstone's car for all I know. But anyway, they said this thing can move. So over the next few days, there was just this flurry of reports from others that claimed that they had also seen the bird-like creature with glowing red eyes. One report came from two volunteer firemen. They supposedly spotted what they described as a large bird with red eyes. A contractor by the name of Newell Partridge reported to Sheriff George Johnson that he had spotted the bird-like beast standing in a nearby field. He claimed that when he shined his flashlight in the direction of the animal, that its eyes glowed like bicycle reflectors, which I guess any animal would. You'd shine the light in the eye, but whatever.
That's fairly common.
He also claimed that the creature was to blame for buzzing noises that kept coming from his TV and also for the disappearance of his dog. So he sort of sounds like a little crazy man, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the dog.
Maybe, but I don't know.
The other things seem like very easily explainable.
Exactly. But I mean, that's what he says. I have no clue. So a biologist from West Virginia University named Dr. Robert L. Smith theorized that the creature was a sandhill crane. These large birds can be almost as tall as a man and have a wingspan of approximately 7 feet, and the bird also to have a reddish color around its eyes, which could make people think it had red eyes. Which, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And he claims that the bird could have just simply wandered from its normal migration route. However, there are some that think the sightings of this creature can have a more sinister meaning. And they believe that the sightings of this beast was a form of prophecy to warn the upcoming collapse of the Silver Bridge. So basically, here's what happened. So Silver Bridge collapsed. So the Silver Bridge was built in 1928, and it connected Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to Gallipolis, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, Ohio. Gallipolis, Ohio, I'm not sure. Anyway, sadly, on December 15th, 1967, while the bridge was heavily congested with traffic, it collapsed, which resulted in the deaths of a reported 46 people, 2 of which were never found. Now, they did an investigation on this, and it took I think it said 3 years. And the collapse was said to be because of poor upkeep and maintenance on the bridge, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But other people think that basically sightings of the Mothman was a premonition of this, and he's a harbinger of doom.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean it's his fault.
No, I mean, they're not saying it's his fault, but that he is a if you see him, it's not good, basically. Something really bad's going to happen. So, I don't know. Now, explanations of the origin. So, there are some cryptozoologists that think that the Mothman may either be an alien or some type of supernatural or paranormal type creature, or an unknown type of cryptid that's managed to avoid being detected or categorized by researchers, which, I mean, I guess any of that could be, I guess any of that could be true, because, I mean, who could prove it wasn't, for sure. And there are a few people that claim to have witnessed odd sightings around the time of the bridge collapse, including UFO-type objects and receiving visits from mysterious, sometimes threatening, men in black type persons, is what they described, men in black.
Well, then.
And many believe that those were just, fabricated or hoaxes.
Very
Most
possible.
people don't believe that happened, but I don't know. Now, as for skeptics, there were skeptics such as Joe Nickel, and he points to several incidents that he feels show that the sightings were likely a hoax, or at least most of the sightings were. He notes an incident which took place in which a group of construction workers had tied red flashlights to helium balloons and then released them, which led to several sightings of glowing red eyes. So, now that doesn't mean that's what happened in every case, but in some cases,
it's an explanation for something.
For some of them, it could have been something like that. He also says that it could have been, the lights from a plane or something. Maybe people just saw those lights and just didn't know what they were seeing and just saw them through the trees or something. I mean, I guess any of that's possible too. Also, it could have been something like a misidentified creature such as an owl, like an albino owl, which would account for the white wings. Yeah. Or even perhaps a large snowy owl, which could explain the glowing red eyes, which is, an effect, which is basically when the light shine in your eyes, like red eye when you take a photo kind of thing, is what they think people are seeing, that red eye effect. And as the sightings took place out of the snowy owl's normal habitat, it was theorized that it basically kind of ventured in this new area and the locals had never really seen one before, and that led them to misidentify it. Now, I mean, that could be it. Now, as for how big it is, though, that doesn't explain that. Now, if they're seeing something that's 7 foot tall, I've never seen a 7 foot tall
owl that's that big.
No, I mean, I've never seen a 7 foot tall owl. Now, as for the crane, maybe.
That's
now they're pretty big.
Explanation.
From a distance, if you were just guessing or something, if you were scared, maybe, because they are fairly big, but whatever. But whether you believe the Mothman was a harbinger of doom or an unidentified bird or some supernatural cryptid that's been lurking in the darkness, you can't deny that he has certainly cemented his place in the cryptological hall of fame, so to speak, because he's definitely very popular. Anyway, he's very interesting. Now, like I said, I don't know anything saying, I'm not saying this thing is a harbinger of doom. That's just, anyway, one of the big things about him was. So next we're moving on to Wisconsin and the Beast of Bray Road. Now, this is a werewolf-like cryptid that was said to have been spotted in or near Elkhorn, Walworth County in Wisconsin. It went on to be an extremely popular cryptid from the area, and it became the subject of several books, documentaries, and even a 2005 horror film. So, wow, that's to say something. That's pretty good. So, it was named for this rural farm road in which the creature was first reportedly sighted and has been sighted the most around this general area. which is Bray Road. Reports of the sightings started growing in the 1980s, and after the stories continued on into the next decade, this prompted a local newspaper, the Walworth County Week, to assign a journalist to cover the story. So they sent out journalist Linda Godfrey, and she states that when she was initially assigned the story, she was pretty skeptical, didn't believe anything, was just like, whatever, but I'm going to go out and talk to these people. So she says after she went out and interviewed several witnesses and she saw the sincerity in the reports, she went on to believe them. And then she went on to write a book entitled The Beast of Bray Road, Tailing Wisconsin's Werewolf.
Well, all right then.
But then again, like I said, that could have just been something to write a book. I don't know whether she believed it or not. But anyway, now this creature is described as being between 6 to 7 feet tall or approximately 1.8 to 2.1 meters. It's said to have a humanoid-type body that's covered in either fur or hair, depending on who's telling it, with a head that resembles a wolf or a dog with glowing red or orange eyes, and it's been reported as traveling on both 4 and 2 legs, so it's bipedal and quadrupedal. So, yeah, which one makes sense? I mean, why wouldn't it?
It would.
So, the first known sighting of this supposed werewolf took place in 1936 on the grounds of the St. Colita School for the Exceptional Children. There wasn't really much reported in this initial sighting other than people just saying they saw it and gave a basic description. I don't think there was really much that went on, but that's when it sort of blew up. Then it just kind of grew over the years. However, in the 1980s, when it just sort of went crazy for some reason, there were several reports in which the creature was said to have attacked the cars of people, supposedly leaving behind deep, long scratch marks on the doors and trunks of vehicles. One woman claims that she was driving across, I should say, Bray Road, and she hit something, and she didn't know what it was. So she says she gets out, looks out, going to see what she hit. And upon getting out of her vehicle, she says she sees this large wolf-like creature with red eyes, and then it chases her back into her car and then starts scratching on her rear passenger door, trying to get into her car. So, I don't know. She drove away. I don't know. There were others who claimed that they saw this large wolf-like creature running on all fours through some nearby cornfields near the road. Other witnesses claimed they saw it chasing a deer across like the woody part of the air. Don't know. But that's also just sounding like it's probably a wolf or something, but I have no clue. Now, they're saying it's really big compared, but then again, they may have never saw a real wolf because real wolves are much bigger
huge
compared to like a dog. They don't look like it on TV, but, when you see them in comparison, they are much bigger than an average dog. So, I mean, that could be, what it was. I don't know. There were also several reports of animal mutilations. These included like deer and livestock. The remains of the animals were normally found near or around Bray Road. The animals were usually found to be partially eaten, and specific organs had been removed from the carcass. And I don't know whether it was eating them or taking them with it. I have no clue.
Other way.
Weird that it's only eating certain organs.
Yeah.
That's odd, but whatever. Another witness claimed to have seen a wolf-like creature crouched near the edge of Bray Road. They stated that the beast was feeding on an animal that had been struck by a car near the side of the road. They claimed the creature ran in the woods as they got closer. So, I don't know. Some of the last sightings took place very recently, actually, in 2018 and 2020, when witnesses again claimed to see a large, fur-covered, upright creature in Walworth County. So, I don't know. Now, as for explanations. Now, most people believe that it's probably, as I said, just a misidentified animal, like a wolf or like a really large dog, like one of those great Pyrenees, one of those huge kind of dogs. Others think it could be like a hoax or, a case of mass hysteria, which is something, of course, that's very common in these types of sightings because one person says they see something, then everybody's seeing something. Everybody's seeing shadows, somebody's seeing something. Yeah. There are even some who thought it could have been like a black bear that maybe had the mange or something, which, it could be. Who knows?
Possible.
I don't know. I don't really know what it looked like, so I have no clue. But that would explain it, raising up on 2 legs and down on 4 a lot because bears do that all the time. So, yeah, maybe. However, that doesn't change the minds of those that believe that this is a real werewolf-type cryptid that has just managed to avoid detection. But it does leave you to wonder exactly what's been seen as these sightings have happened over such a long period of time, which would likely indicate this wouldn't be the same animal that was spotted each time because the first one was spotted back in 1936, so I don't think it's still around in 2020, the same animal.
No.
So, it would make you think, it could be the same type of animal, but I don't know. Of course, that doesn't mean this creature is real, but it does make you wonder what's lurking around the rural Bray Road in Wisconsin, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does.
I mean, nothing else is interesting. So, I mean, like I said, what it is, I have no clue. But anyway, the last one is a fun one, and we're going to Wyoming, and we're going to talk about the jackalope.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the jackalope, which is also known as the warrior rabbit, is a mythical cryptid of North American legend, if you have never heard of it. I always found that so funny when I heard that it was known as the warrior rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
Just to imagine a rabbit as a warrior, I don't know. It's just funny to me. But anyway, so it's described as a jackrabbit that has antelope or deer antlers, and it's sometimes described as having a pheasant's tail, which, why? I don't know. Anyway.
Definitely one of the weirdest chimeras I've ever heard of.
It is very odd. But anyway, so we'll talk about some habits of it. So there are like many outlandish claims about this creature. Some say they're shy unless they are approached. And then they're said that they can like turn and flee at a speed of like 90 miles an hour. Like they can just take off and go.
Well, to be fair, it is a rabbit.
There you go.
They are pretty fast.
There you go. Now, here's one that's slightly funny, but it's said that if you can catch one asleep, you can milk it as they sleep belly up. Then you can use their milk for medicinal purposes. Now, I don't know what medicinal purposes, but oh my God. Anyway. Yeah.
Weird.
It's funny. Now, some people say that this creature has the ability to mimic any sound, including human voices. And it's said to be able to elude pursuers by, when it's running away, it'll say mimic people in the party saying stuff like, there he goes, or that way, which will confuse people thinking somebody else is saying, there he goes or something, which is smart. Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
So, tales of the jackalope have been around since the Old West days, and it's claimed that at night when the cowboys would gather around the campfire and sing songs to pass the time, that you could hear the sounds of the jackalope mimicking their singing coming from the surrounding darkness, which is kind of creepy in a way, but also kind of weird and neat, too. It's kind of funny to think about them sitting out there singing with them, but anyway. Now, they say, though, that you can catch one, even though they're really quick, if you leave your flask out at night. The creature will then drink its fill and become deeply intoxicated, which will, of course, make it easier to hunt. So another one that likes to get drunk, apparently. So you leave your flask out, it gets drunk, you, I guess, go chase them through its little drunken trails. I don't know. Now, this one is very odd, and this is supposed to explain their rarity. They are said to have a very unusual breeding practice. They're claimed to only be able to breed during an electrical storm in which it is hailing.
Oh,
very specific. So, yeah. Now, Douglas, Wyoming declared itself the jackalope capital of America after, according to claims, the first sighting was made there around 1829. There's even a statue of it that stands in the town center, and every year they host a jackalope day. It's a little celebration.
Well, all right then.
Now, here's what is kind of funny. You can still even obtain a license to hunt this elusive creature at the Douglas Chamber of Commerce. Hunting of this creature is restricted to the hours of 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. and only on June 31st, which is a little fun for those who just want a souvenir. As June's only got 30 days. But, it's just fun. So you can hunt it on June 31st from 12 a.m. to 2, which doesn't exist. So, but anyway. So it's believed that sightings of this animal may have actually been people seeing rabbits that had this virus called Shope papilloma, which is this virus that causes animals to grow like these tumors on their body that look like horns, which I've seen seen pictures of them with that. So yeah, I could see that being what people were seeing and maybe thinking that. Now, the supposed real idea of the jackalope supposedly came after a hunting trip that was made by two men. Now, these two men were brothers who had studied taxidermy, and after returning home from a trip where they'd been hunting rabbits, one of them tossed a rabbit carcass onto a table that had a deer antler on it, and after it landed near it and near its head, then that led them to think, and they stuffed it, made it with the hand, and then they sold it. So the first jackalope was said to have been sold to a man by the name of Roy Ball, who then went on to display it in the town's Bonte Hotel until it was later stolen in 1977. So, of course, while this odd creature, likely stems from a combination of misidentifying sick animals and, of course, the weird stuffed animal that we've all seen countless times in media, it's still a fun and interesting cryptid to add to the list because, come on.
Yeah.
It's an odd one.
It's another one of the most iconic cryptids.
Exactly. So we hope you enjoyed this series, and we're going to be starting a new series on our next episodes in which we're going to take a look at some of the most notorious outlaws from around the world. So we invite you back to join us for that. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and don't forget to stay disturbed.